2023 is going to be a very exciting year for gaming. There are a ton of games I'm anticipating across multiple genres, including driving games, which I am particularly fond of. And within that genre, I have a couple of titles on my wish list that include Taxi Life or Test Drive Unlimited Solo Crown, but to me, there is one title that stands out of all of the others, and that is CityDriver. So, what is CityDriver? Well, it's a modern driving simulator that lets you drive cars in a realistic setting. I say modern because in that niche, there is already a game that's well established, city car driving, but it was made a very long time ago and it really starts to show. On top of that, it was made by a Russian company, so it might make things a little sensitive given the current geopolitical context. CityDriver, however, is made by none other than Aerosoft, the German studio behind games like the impressive The Bus or the Tram Sim series, including Tram Sim Munich, from which CityDriver derives. So, what are we going to be able to do in CityDriver? Well, we'll be able to drive cars, obviously. Now, these won't be officially licensed cars, unfortunately, but very convincing lookalikes instead that I am sure the modding community will transform into the real ones in no time. And the idea with these cars is to make them feel as close to the real ones as possible. This means that the developers aim at having physics as close as possible to real car physics, and this is going to then affect the driving experience based on the engine, the weight, or also how the car handles. And while driving will be of course the main focus of the game, it would then become a very shallow experience if there was no purpose to it, which is why the developers are working on including activities for us to do, which will give us some objectives to complete if we do not feel like simply roaming the streets of Munich, Germany. Such activities would include the likes of deliveries, passenger transports, or even photo shoots, which is actually one of my favorite things to do in a driving game, especially if it is part of a mission and you get rewarded for it. I think it combines, driving and exploration, and also adds a certain notion of aesthetics that I think particularly fits the genre, since we get to combine the game's beautiful environments with the beautiful cars that we are driving. The one thing that impresses me the most with CityDriver, however, is the sheer amount of detail that the title is going to offer, not just the cars, which are fully interactable, both in the interior at least, but also and especially the environmental details, aiming at once again recreating the city of Munich as faithfully as possible, and this is achieved through a proper layout of the roads, of course, but also getting the specificities of the building right, making sure the road signage are correct, with proper information displayed on them. And another asset elements that's always been an issue with those types of games, I think, is vegetation and especially foliage. And here, Aerosoft really seems to have knocked it out of the park, especially when you leave the city to venture out around the outskirts. It really does look impressive, and it really makes me reflect on why we haven't had games like this before. This kind of Star Citizen experience, but with cars. I mean, sure, we've had games like The Bus or Euro Truck Simulator, but they all had one thing in common. They wouldn't allow us to go fast, like CityDriver does. And the reason behind it is simply that computing power has improved so much that developers now can make a game such as CityDriver that can also be given to a general audience. So, you see, creating content, and that also goes for games too, is very much about smoke and mirrors, creating the illusion that what you see is the real deal, while it is in fact nothing but a loading screen, a skybox, or a backdrop. The problem with driving games is, especially when these are open driving games, is that these tricks become very quickly apparent, so they tend to disappear in favor of ever richer environments that take a dramatic toll on game performance, which was not really a problem at low speeds, but would become problematic at higher speeds due to low frame rates or also a lack of speed sensations. And so I think here that the fact that Aerosoft is giving us an existing game base as far as the creation of CityDriver goes is really going to help a lot, as they are not going to have to create everything from scratch, but they are going to be using the foundation of something that already exists. All they have to do is to optimize their engine, further add relevant game features, and that's basically it. That is why I'm also quite confident in the potential of CityDriver, and I'll make sure to keep you guys up to date as soon as there are any further developments. Anyway, guys, that is all for this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. Do you like driving games? How are you excited for a game like CityDriver? Are you going to pick it up? Well, let me know in the comment section down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, it's been the Eradicator, and I will see you guys later.